Hi guys, welcome back to my channel Lush Foliage. In today's video we will be discussing about Ferns Flower because I had received this image that you seen on the thumbnail. It was sent to me by one of my subscriber asking where they can find this fern that tends to put out these beautiful tiny blue flowers. Now guys, just like any other plants, ferns have roots, they have a stem, they have leaves, but unfortunately they do not flower or they do not produce seeds like other flowers. So how do they reproduce? Now they tend to reproduce by putting out the pores on back of the leaves, the abaxil of the leaves. They will get these pores, and with wind these pores tend to get dispersed, and that's how more and more ferns tend to grow. They can even grow through vegetation, basically by growing, spreading through the roots. They will start to put out new shoots and leaves through soil as well. Apart from that, the major thing is done with the help of those pores, but they do not produce any flowers or seeds. Now I'm not very sure about the exact ID of this fern because I don't grow ferns because my environment does not support them. I have a very dry environment wherein the humidity levels can drop up to 20%. Whereas ferns are plants that require a very high amount of humidity. They basically prefer an environment that is very moist, which is completely opposite to my environment. And I am very surprised to see that this fern has been standing really strong throughout the summer, and now that it's monsoon season, it's not going to be an issue. Ideally during the monsoon season, ferns do well in my city, but they eventually start to die off. Probably the pores or the roots are still present inside the soil during the winters and summers, and as soon as the monsoons come in, I do see some ferns growing in the cracks of the walls or on the floor. But this one, I am very surprised to see that it has been doing quite well. I'm not very sure about the ID of this fern. Now again, I had not purchased this fern. This is a voluntary fern. Probably it came in through the seller because I had purchased, this is the syngonium that I had purchased. So I had taken out the syngonium, I had put it into the pot. There was one strand of this fern. If you remember, I had made this video long time back. There was only one strand of this fern which came in along with the plant. Probably the seller might have just sent it along with that. So eventually I thought probably that one strand is not going to survive because, of course, as I said, my environment is very dry. But over the period of time, you can see it is doing extremely well. I'm very surprised. I always wanted to grow ferns, but because of my environment, I completely gave up on that idea. But this one is doing quite well. So basically, my urge or my wish to grow at least one fern plant is being fulfilled with the help of this fern. And it's doing quite strong. You can see it is putting out some new growth over here. They usually come up like curled like this and eventually start to open up. There is a little bit of mealybugs I just happened to notice now. I will be using some neem oil and get rid of it. But overall the plant is doing quite well. Even after having such a hot summer, I do see only a little bit of browning on the edges, but overall the plant has withstand that heat that we had this summer. Very surprised for a fern to do this well in a very extreme weather, but I'm very happy. The syngonium is also doing quite well. I do not want to disturb this plant. I'm just going to leave it as it is. Now I do not want to disturb this fern. That's why I'm not taking it out and planting it in another pot. I'm just going to leave it as it is, let it do its own thing. The syngonium has been there with this plant. So if I have to separate the syngonium from the fern, I'll have to dig up the soil, and then because I'm sure the syngonium roots are completely entangled with the fern roots, so it's going to be very difficult, and I do not want to damage the plant. If something is growing very well on its own, it's better to be left alone. I can always go ahead and buy some more syngoniums. It's not much of an issue. And to be honest, the combo looks quite good, the fern and the syngonium. So I'm just going to leave it as it is. And the best thing is that both of them have the same requirement, indirect bright light, moist soil, So I think that is working out really well. They both are complementing each other. So I'm not going to be touching it. I will just leave it as it is. Now, if you're wondering what is that blue flower that you've seen in the thumbnail, now this is a flowering plant. I think it is more like a weed that is native to Europe. It is called as the wood forget-me-not or the woodland forget-me-not. I will put up the scientific name on the screen. If you can get hold of this plant, you can probably do it. I don't think it is going to be available in my country or in my city, but the flowers look absolutely beautiful. You can see that beautiful striking light blue color. I wish I could get that flower, but I don't think it's going to be available, or probably it might not survive in my environment. I don't know, but I haven't seen that in my place, but it looks absolutely beautiful. And a very clever photography by whoever has created that photograph, by putting in that beautiful blue flower against those beautiful green ferns. A very beautiful contrast of colors, looks absolutely stunning. But yes, ferns do not put out flowers, they do not produce seeds. The only way that they can reproduce is with the help of those spores that are going to be on the abaxil of the leaf. So guys, I hope that this video was helpful to you. If it was, please hit the like button, and if you're new to my channel, please consider subscribing to it. Until then, take care, stay safe, and keep planting.